Yo, welcome back, everybody, to the AK Eagles podcast. This is show number 2. Appreciate everyone who has came back for, the second one. We've had a 30-minute break here, but I would like to introduce you guys to a very special guest of mine. He is also a friend of mine, and we haven't done anything for a long time, so I'm glad we could get together and do this for you guys. Everyone, please welcome my dude, and from Chalk It Up Sports, Tone Deshields. What's going on,
everybody? How we feeling? How we feeling, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Man. Really glad you brought me on, bro. Like I was telling you backstage, really, really grateful to be on the platform to share this with you, my guy. And I've been looking forward to it all day. And whenever we get together, it's always a hell of a conversation because you and I, we tend not to hold back in any way. I'm pretty sure some people have called you and I, respectively, of course, abrasive. so I appreciate you for allowing me to come on, man. To swap energy, and let's get this thing on the road, man. It's a lot to talk about.
Yes, sir. And like I said backstage too, I appreciate you doing this, man. You're a busy man, so thank you for taking time out of your day to do this. And also, his link is in the description down below. If any of you guys are not subbed to my boy Tone here, please go ahead and do so. This dude brings the fire. He brings electricity to his channel, and he knows his shit. He really does, plain and simple.
I do my best, man. I do my best.
We all do, right? But listen, man, we have not talked. Just like I was telling King earlier, we have not talked since the end of the season, kind of even before that. I want to get your rundown of last year and just how you felt as just you alone, how the season went for you.
Well, I came into the season really optimistic, but at the same time, I knew we were going to have some growing pains, right? And you come in and you see what happens in week 1, you get excited, and then things start to pretty much go downhill from there. And then we steal a game from the Carolina Panthers, and things continue to go downhill. But then we somehow, some way, find our footing. And last year was pretty much an emotional roller coaster. And I really didn't think that, we had a chance to make the playoffs. The playoffs were the last thing that was on my mind. And when I saw that, especially when the Cowboys got off to such a fast start, right? And I know I'm skipping over a lot of stuff, but the season, it's a long season. There's so much to really touch on, but
yeah,
we ended up being second in the division, and the Cowboys really weren't that far ahead because they fell off a cliff towards the end, and no one thought we were making it to the playoffs. We did with the second-year quarterback, first-time starter, with who would have thought we would have the top running game also in the NFL. Defense was porous, and anything was able to get through. But overall, the season was a pleasant. It was satisfactory. It exceeded my expectations, so I wasn't really too upset how it ended, losing to Tampa Bay in the playoffs. Because let's be totally honest, we weren't supposed to be there. Our team was completely underwhelming from top to bottom. We really didn't have any dominance outside of the offensive line, and overall we knew that our quarterback wasn't really the guy, right? And we're still trying to find that out. And then the season ends. We lose some guys, we bring some guys back. Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey. We restructured Darius Slay. We bring in Zach Pascal. We bring in Hassan Reddick, Kaiser White. We made AJ Brown. It gets really, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but overall, the season was a pleasant surprise, and I really believe this season is going to be even more of a surprise. I really believe this team can really shock some people this year.
I 100% agree with you, man. Real quick, let's touch on the coaches last year real fast, JG and Nick. I said it on my live just a little bit ago with King. I don't think people really understand how easy it is to completely take an offense like we did the first 7 weeks of passing the ball and completely flipping it to where it's all running the ball. You know, that's very hard to do mid-season. You know what I mean? But how much credit do you give Nick, and what are you giving JG last year and this year? Because we have all seen Nick is able to make those adjustments. He can make those hard calls when those calls are supposed to happen. Not so much with JG. You know, he waited till halftime to do his. So, how do you feel about these two?
I feel fairly positive about Nick Sirianni. JG, I'm still on the fence. I believe the jury is still out on him. But Nick Sirianni, I feel fairly positive about him. He still has a lot to do in order to earn my full respect. But overall, just speaking from Nick Sirianni's perspective, you're right. You mentioned something that's very important. He managed to do something that, in theory, would seem very simple, but it's really not when you think about you're completely upending all the philosophy, all the work, all the reps that you've put in preseason and training camp. You're pretty much uprooting all that and saying, "Look, everything I prepared you guys for, throw it in the trash. This is how we're playing football." I think what he did, he got back to the basics of what it is, and that is my guys versus your guys, my will versus your will. And I love a coach that knows how to read the writing on the wall. I love a coach who knows how to look at himself in the mirror and say, you know what I'm doing, what I've instilled in these guys right now is not working. I need to tweak that. I need to fine tune it. I need to make adjustments if we're going to be competitive. If I want to keep my locker room, because let's be totally honest, he was a rookie coach. They don't owe him anything. He could lose. He could lose that locker room in 4 weeks.
Yep.
It doesn't take that much for a team because the players, especially the veterans, they size you up pretty early, and they can tell whether or not if you're full of full of crap, or if you walk it like you talk it. You know what I mean? And Nick Sirianni truly impressed me. I'm pretty sure he impressed his guys, and I'm pretty sure the way he handled last season, getting them from where they were a 4-11-1 team and turning them into a 9-8 playoff team. I'm pretty sure guys like Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks when he was here, Darius Slay, BG. I'm pretty sure all those veterans looked at Nick Sirianni like, okay, he gets it.
Yeah.
He listened to his players because let's be totally honest, throwing the ball 40 plus, 35 plus times for Jalen Hurts at that time was asinine.
Yeah.
But I believe that what happened in week one kind of jaded him a little bit and made him think, you know what, let's try to sling it some more. And Jalen Hurts wasn't ready for that. He got exposed pretty early, and I feel like he had to get back to the basics with Jalen, and that's okay. First year starter, young guy, um, but it can't be that way going into this season. He's going to, if I'm being completely honest, he's going to throw the playbook at Jalen, and it's going to be sink or swim. There's too much talent surrounding Jalen. It's too much talent on this team for Jalen to be, babysat like he was last season. And again, I'm not I'm not dissing Jalen because of the situation. The reality is you're a young quarterback. You're still trying to learn how to read defenses. The best thing for the team is to become a run heavy team. It's no slight against them at all. It's just the reality. We weren't getting it done in the air. Let's make our offense more run centric. And then when it comes to JG, in my humble opinion, um, he lost us a bunch of those games. He lost us the Chargers game. He lost us the Chiefs game. Um, what else? Uh, it just
49er game.
he lost us the 49er game. There were games where Jalen Hurts played good enough to actually win,
Yeah.
and JG couldn't keep couldn't get the offense up the field. So JG, the jury's still out on him. And let's be totally honest. He earned his money beating up on weak teams, weak quarterbacks. Whenever you face a quarterback that has some level of respect, you couldn't get it done. I put it to you from this perspective, and this is why I give a lot of credit to Nick Sirianni and not that much to JG. The Eagles had no problem putting up points last year. For the most, we had multiple games where we put up over 30 points. For the whole season, we were ranked 12th in the NFL in terms of scoring. That's at 26 points per game. That's the top half of the league. That's not bad. The top 12 makes the playoffs. You get what I'm saying? So you were scoring enough to be respectable. You were scoring enough to have a somewhat productive offense. The problem with the offense was the efficiency. We couldn't sustain drives. The way we the the way we score was pretty ugly. You get what I'm saying? So I say all that to say, yes, scoring was not our real issue. Our real issue was the fact that we couldn't keep points off the board. That was the real issue. We couldn't keep points off the board. And I put it into perspective like this. We had one of the worst pass rushes in the NFL. We were ranked 31st in sacks, and I can't imagine what we were ranked in terms of pressures. So let me take it a step further. We allowed 9 quarterbacks to complete over 73% of their passes, AK. 9 quarterbacks. And then 5 of those 9 quarterbacks actually completed 80% or more of their passes. And then one of the quarterbacks completed 92% of his passes, and that was Derek Carr.
Yep.
That's completely unacceptable. When you have a quarterback back there that's able to knit sweaters, make tea, birth the baby, tuck him in, warm up some milk. When you got all the time out there to read a damn book, what do you expect the quarterback to do? And then on top of that, you're playing soft coverage. How can your pass rush get any? How can your pass rush get home? You're exposing your corners. You're exposing your lack of pass rush. You're exposing your linebackers. You're not putting enough pressure on the skill position at the line of scrimmage. So I can't give JG too much credit. Now he tried to say, well, we don't have the talent to do what I really want to do. Okay, all right. That was last year. This year you got some talent. We brought some hogs in. So let's see what you can do. But to sum it all up, Nick Sirianni, I feel very positive about him. JG, I'm still on the fence about him.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I agree, man. I was really hoping he got hired by the Texans so he'd just go. But no, the one thing I want to see this year, though, is say our offense does fabulous, but JG keeps doing the same stupid stuff he's been doing last year. I want to know, does Nick have the kahunas to fire his best friend? You know what I mean? Like, is he man enough to sit there and be like, JG, I love you, dog, but you're not the one. You know what I mean? Like that'll tell me a lot about Nick Sirianni. No,
I think that's very interesting when you put it that way because, like to your point, right? Let's say the Eagles have no problem putting up points, right? They're averaging, let's say through the first 8 weeks, the Philadelphia Eagles are averaging about 26, 28 points per game. Right, with the you have the occasional 40 ball in there, and then you might have a few 30-point games, and then you have 21, 25-point games. Like things balance out. But on average, let's say the offense is averaging about 28 points per game.
Yep.
The quarterback is averaging just above 250 yards passing. The running game is averaging about 150 yards per game. We're productive offensively.
Yep.
And we continue to lose games because you can't get a stop. Or because of the plays you're calling. Oh yeah, I bet Nick Sirianni he better be able to look at that man and say, listen, I don't know what you think is going on here, but we got talent now, and we got guys that are multiple, that are versatile, like you wanted, and you're still not getting it done. Something got to give, and I think it's going to really depend on the week and the type of loss and the opponent. If he allows a Daniel Jones that doesn't have a contract or any type of security beyond this season, if he allows a Daniel Jones to drop 40 points on him, you know what I mean? It's going to depend on the type of loss. So, I think it'll take a lot for Nick Sirianni to fire him, but if it does, it's going to be a very specific loss, a very specific way of losing that gets him out the door.
Bro, if DJ comes in here and puts 40 points up on our defense this year, he's fired right after that game.
I'm with you.
Like, you're not even getting on the plane to go back home. You can get an Uber and go home because you ain't even going. You know what I mean?
Uber jet.
Yeah, no, dog, no. Like, you let Danny food stamps 30 points on you. You are done, sir. You feel me?
Oh man, not even gonna call him Danny. I always call him Danny Nichols. You know what I'm saying? Like people was like, I don't know how you call him man Danny Downs, man. He ain't worth a cent.
No. But listen, man. the like we said, we only got an hour to do this, so we're gonna hurry up. How do you feel about this AJ Brown acquisition we picked up? I mean, we are all stoked about it. He is the best friends with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is his daughter's godfather. These guys practice each and every year outside of football at his house and AJ's house. I mean, they have a really, really, really good rapport with one another. I mean, they can pretty much play backyard football if they want to. They know each other that well. How much do you think AJ Brown is going to help Jalen Hurts ascend this year, and what is he going to ultimately bring to this offense?
Mm, that's a real good question. First and foremost, I love the pickup. You know,
Right.
all the entire off season, we continue to ask, what is this team going to do to actually give Jalen Hurts a fair chance at success? Because let's be totally honest, there's no way you will be able to properly judge this young man if you didn't give him any more talent around him. I love Devontae Smith, but he can't be the end all be all because he's a young rookie. He isn't necessarily a dominant force in terms of his physical measurables, and he he couldn't be an end all be all. That's the bottom line. And then I love Dallas Goddard, but again, you needed more talent around this young man. You needed something to take the pressure off of these young guys. And you brought in a guy like AJ Brown, who's proven, been in the league for 3 years, going into his fourth season, had two 1,000-yard seasons. In 2021, he would have crushed his 2020 and 2019 numbers, but he got hurt and missed 4 games.
Yep.
But in those 13 games he played, uh, 63 catches, 869 yards, 5 touchdowns. He was on pace to crush his numbers.
Yep.
And what makes it even more interesting is the fact that AJ Brown is a hand in glove fit for this organization. Let me tell you why. He comes from a run heavy style offense anyway. He knows how to operate in a situation where, you know what, my targets are kind of limited, and he knows how to do the most with his targets. His rookie season, he averaged 20 yards per reception. 2020, he averaged 15 yards per reception. 2021, he averaged almost 14. Um, and again, I believe those numbers would have been even greater if he was able to stay healthy. Um, Now, my only slight concern by AJ Brown is the past couple of seasons he's had some ticky tack injuries.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he can stay healthy. He's such a physical runner with the ball. He's such a physical specimen. It's only so much that he can do to keep guys from really wanting to go toe to toe with him because he's such a physical guy. 6'1", 226 pounds. He runs like a semi. And if you just look at his tape and how he moves, he plays the game with the with the veracity. He plays the game. He's ferocious and he's
Yeah.
physical. There's this one play. I forget who they were playing against. I don't know if they were playing against the Colts or whatever. I can't remember the team they were playing against, but they they were in the red zone, and I think Ryan Tannehill threw the ball to him on like a crossing route or a slant, and he broke like 5 or 6 tackles. It was ridiculous.
It was Baltimore. It was against Baltimore.
It was Baltimore. It was
Yeah.
Baltimore. Yes. I'm watching. I'm like, how Sway? Like, you know what I'm saying? So overall, man, I love the addition. He's going to make life so much easier for Jalen Hurts because he's that big body. Now, he's not tall. He's 6'1". I'm 6 feet, so he's a little taller than me.
Yep.
But he's 6'1", but he's 226 pounds, has a very, very wide catch rate. It's very physical off the line of scrimmage. And don't sleep on his speed. He can definitely beat you deep.
Yep.
But here's the most beautiful thing about what Howie Roseman has done. The reason the wide receiver core was so lackluster last year is because you had too much of the same thing going on. You had too many skinny speed guys.
Mhm.
Now, what you do with bringing AJ Brown in, you actually have a more well-rounded wide receiver room. You have AJ Brown, who's your big body red zone threat, who has a catch radius of rubber band man, and can also get off the line of scrimmage and can win those 50-50 balls. Then
Yep.
you have Devontae Smith, your route running technician, your finesse wide receiver who has hands like glue that can catch all the sideline tough catches. Then you have Quez Watkins, your burner that can take the top off of the defense, your utility guy. And then you have Zach Pascal, another physical wide receiver who's going to be able to help in the running game, but has reliable hands. Hasn't had many opportunities, but when he has had opportunity, his hands were very reliable. AJ Brown and Zach Pascal are also know how to block very, very well.
Yes.
That is a huge deal for what the Philadelphia Eagles do. And on top of that, you have Greg Ward, old Mister Reliable. I'm not even going to bring up Jalen Rager. That man, his fate is all but sealed. But when you think, but then you got Dallas Goddard. Then you bring in a guy like Grant Calcaterra. You know what I'm saying? The Philadelphia Eagles have a legit offensive arsenal that you have to respect. And that's not, I haven't even talked about the running backs yet. Miles Sanders, who's in a contract year, he has no choice but the ball out. And let's be honest, even though he didn't have any touchdowns and he got hurt last year, and through the 12 games he played, he averaged 5 yards per carry. Then you got Boston Scott, who averaged about 4 yards per carry. Kenny Gainwell, who was the one that was scoring the touchdowns. Like, Kenny Gainwell, he runs routes like a receiver. You know what I mean? So this offense is definitely positioned to put Jalen Hurts in the best possible position to succeed. All the pressure is on him now. All the pressure's on him. All I wanted entering the season, and I know I'm being long-winded, but
No, you good.
all I wanted entering this season, I wanted Howard Roseman to be able to wash his hands clean in the situation. And what I mean by that is, I didn't want to enter the season still looking at what Howard Roseman didn't do. At this point, even if we don't sign another free agent, I'm not looking Howard Roseman weight at all this season. I'm looking at four people. I'm looking at Shane Steichen, Nick Sirianni, JG, and Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
I'm looking at those guys. If y'all can't get it done with what Howard Roseman has done this offseason, we got some major issues. It's too much talent on this team, and we're going to get into the defense side of the ball with the defensive line because I arguably feel like we have the best defensive line in the NFC East. The most depth, the most well-rounded. Like, bro, we got some dogs on this team now. And it's going to be really interesting to see how this thing pans out, especially with Jalen Hurts, because A.J. Brown just takes everything to a whole nother level. His presence is going to make guys better. And then the chemistry, the relationship, man, I can go on for days about it.
Well, okay, I got to throw a worry out to you real fast, man, because we all, and you say you don't want to bring Howie Roseman into it this year, and I understand that, but we all know how Howie Roseman likes to
control the 53-man roster on game day.
Yeah, but how he likes, like, for instance, he's trying to make J. Joel something, even though he's not. Like, he's trying to get more out of these people than what is truly there. Like, he's trying to make it to where the pick is acceptable. Put it that way.
I get it.
And I truly feel, even though we have Quez Watkins, even though we have Zach Pascal, and we got these guys, this man somehow, some way, because we got A.J. Brown, is going to try and resurge Jalen Reagor in the slot because he's going to feel that A.J. Brown's going to open up so much that this kid can't fail. So he's going to try and make the A.J. or the Jalen Reagor pick look good by doing that when really it should only be Zach Pascal and Quez Watkins sharing the slot. Do you understand what I mean? Like, I really feel he's going to
definitely see what you mean. Like, that actually has some credence to it because he has done it before, and we've seen him try to force feed Jalen Reagor. That's a very, very good point that I didn't even consider. And to your point, right? Quez Watkins, as much as we love him, he's still going to have to prove it in training camp as well.
For sure.
So let's just say, for the sake of argument, right? To your point. Let's say Jalen Reagor makes it a close race in training camp. And let's say they can't find a way to trade Jalen Reagor before the season starts and he's on the roster. And also, let's say that he does throw him in there on some slot routes or things of that nature. If he's open, if he's open, throwing the ball, what's the worst that he can't do? No worse. You get what I mean? So it's like,
you're right.
We still have AJ Brown. We still got Devontae Smith. I would be more concerned if we didn't have any of those guys.
Right.
But because we have those kind of guys surrounding, the situation, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Quez Watkins, we still have him in the tuck. Even Nick Sirianni acknowledged that Quez Watkins was the number 2 last year. He overtook Jalen Reagor. but still, they're going to make Quez Watkins prove it. Year after year, they're gonna try to, like you said, try to squeeze out what they can from Jalen Rager, and like you and they may throw him in a few packages just to see what may happen, what may shake free from it. Because the problem with Jalen Rager was he never was the guy, but if you surround him with guys that are significantly better than him, that opens it up for him. Hey, listen, man, even Yao Ming makes layups at some point, so it's like you gotta, we'll see what happens. I ultimately want to move on from Jalen Rager
Yeah.
we'll be better for it. Um, but he understands the situation. He sees what's going on, and he knows that his fate is pretty much sealed. There's nothing really much he could do, really. But the fact that a first round pick was invested in him, Howie is going to see it through.
Yeah. And that's all I'm worried about, man. Because if it was me, dude, Quez already proved more to me than what Rager ever has. Okay. Zach Pascal has already proved more. He hasn't even taken a snap for us yet, and he's already proven more than what Jalen Rager has. So if Rager is that guy in the slot, I'm going to be kind of upset. Because I think Quez would kill everyone in the slot with his speed, his body control, his route running, and then Zach Pascal, I'd use him in the red zone into, 20 yards and less because he's 6'2". He's a big body guy. He'll be able to outman and outmuscle those linebackers. So I just hope that he doesn't try and force Jalen Rager on us just to make himself look good. Because it's not about that for me.
I feel you. Here's the interesting thing. Here's the interesting thing about it, though, right? As much as Howie, because Howie is most likely going to have him activated. I got a feeling our top five, if we have 5 wide receivers activated, any given Sunday, it's going to be AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal, and probably Jalen Rager, right? From top to bottom, that's a very good receiving core.
Yes.
But like you said, we're going to see if Harry Wilson inserts him into the active day roster. But on top of that, remember this: Nick Sirianni tried him in so many different scenarios. He at a certain point, you could tell if a guy has it or not.
Yeah.
Remember, Nick Sirianni didn't draft him. He don't owe him anything. Nick Sirianni is going to put the best guys on the field. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Nick, good thing Howard doesn't call plays. But the best Howard Roseman can do for him is activate him on game day. Other than that, the ball's going to the best player. They got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. They're going to lead the team in targets.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Now, I do have one more offensive question for you before we get to the defense. Because, listen, I'd rather spend the last 30 minutes talking about defense rather than this offense, to be honest. I know
defense,
it's crazy.
You know what? It's funny because that's not crazy because think about it. The defense is pretty much, when you look at the defense side of the ball from a depth chart perspective, it's not going to change. It is what
No.
it is what it's going to be. So there's no newness. There's not too many narratives you can pull from the offensive side of the ball besides obviously Jalen Hurts' situation, right? So I totally understand what you mean. Like the offensive side of the ball, it's going to be what it's going to be. The defense side of the ball, that's where some questions still need to be answered. I think the defensive side of the ball is going to be more intriguing than the offensive side this season, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, dude. And in fact, I believe our defense is going to be better than our offense. Call me crazy.
Call me crazy.
I do.
I told people, I said, look, listen, it's funny you say that. People call me crazy if you want, but listen, book it. I'm telling you, we're going to be top 5 in sacks, and we're going to have a top 5 defense this year. I'm putting it out there.
Yep, I'm right there with you, bro. So we'll hang there together. All right, no lie. But before we get to that, listen, I asked King this question, and I know there's a lot of mixed emotions between content creators and fans. So I'm trying to get everybody's point of view on this. I am a huge Miles Sanders fan. A lot of us are, right? He's just had shit luck. We all understand that, but we all know that halfbacks are dime a dozen in the NFL these days. It's not like old school, like Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, all of them. It's nowhere near that anymore, okay? Is there anything that this kid can do to save himself and still be here next year? Like, if he comes out and gets 1,300 yards this year and 8 touchdowns, does Howie still sign him, or has his fate been sealed because of the lack of production that he's had the first 3 years of his career?
That's interesting because Miles Sanders, I've always considered him to be fairly productive running back.
Yes.
He has regressed little by little each year, not for lack of trying, because of injuries, not being able to stay on the field.
Yeah.
So let me approach it from this perspective, right? Miles Sanders. Well, let me just answer your question directly. I firmly believe no matter what he does, he's gone. And I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell you why.
That hurts.
And it's unfortunate because I like Miles Sanders a lot. Actually,
Yeah.
he reminds me of that blend between Westbrook and Shady McCoy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he gives me that vibe. Like the Philadelphia Eagles have always like we have an archetype for running backs we like. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like we have a style running back we like guys that can get it done in the passing game, guys that can catch screens and that can run outside the tackles, the zone run scheme. You know, we like guys that are scat backs, guys that are elusive. That's our style, right? And we may have the power guy to mix in here and there. But let me tell you why I say his fate might be sealed already. And look, this is all conjecture. Like I'm guessing, right? But this is why I think his fate is sealed already. To your point, if he does go off for over 1,300 rushing yards and nearly 10 touchdowns, and let's just say he catches about 500 yards receiving, 600 yards receiving, that's nearly 2,000 yards of offense, right? If you're Miles Sanders, you're going to walk into those negotiation tables like, okay, I did this. I think I deserve this amount, and rightfully so. But we got to remember who we're dealing with. The Philadelphia Eagles are not going to pay a running back,
No.
and if he does terribly, he's out as well. So it's like he damned if he does, and he damned if he doesn't. If he does too well, they're not going to pay him what he's worth, and he's going to go get the money elsewhere. If he doesn't do well enough, they're going to hand the keys over to Kenny Gainwell and maybe someone else they've drafted. So he's kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're in this NFL, like you said, that they're not paying running backs anymore. All the money is going to quarterbacks, wide receivers, and edge rushers now. That's where all the money's going. And then, left tackles and your centers and whatnot. But for the most part, at your skill positions or anything outside of offensive line and defensive line, the money is going to quarterbacks and wide receivers. The wide receiver has become the new running back position.
Yep.
Because we're in such a pass heavy league now, teams need at least A minus and a B plus wide receiver. Before you'd be able to get away with having a B plus wide receiver, maybe two C minus receivers. You'd be able to get away with that back in the day. Now you need to have an A plus receiver. You need to have maybe a B plus A minus receiver next to him, and maybe a B minus C plus third guy. You know what I mean? And then you got to have a B plus tight end. You need to have guys that you get that ball to, and the money is not going to the running back position. So I just don't think that the money, the way it's going to be set up, especially now that we're paying AJ Brown, and then Devontae Smith's contract's going to come up soon, and then they got to decide if they're going to pay Jalen Hurts if he becomes the guy. They're not going to lock up any money with Miles Sanders. They still got Kenny Gainwell. They can bring back bring back Boston Scott on a 1-year deal every single time if they want to. He loves Philly. He's not going to leave.
Yep.
And then they drafted this kid. I forget his name.
Kennedy Brooks, man, that's my dog right there. I hope to God this kid.
I don't know too much about him. I've heard he's the real deal. He fell out of the draft because he fell out of the draft because he had some stuff going off the field.
He is not going to be the fastest thing in the shed. Okay, he is not the most powerful person in the shed. But what I like about this guy is he kind of reminds me a lot of Le'Veon Bell. And when I say that, I mean vision. That vision this kid has, bro. There is no hole that this kid cannot exploit. He is freaking phenomenal. He's got good juke. He can cut really well. He's very what's the word I'm looking for? Elusive. He has some power to him, like I said, but he's not going to truck everyone. Right. But he'll break 40-yard runs.
You're going to catch somebody. You're going to catch somebody.
he'll break 40-yard runs each and every time, but he's always going to get caught. He doesn't have that escape speed.
That game break speed.
Yeah. But he will give you 40-yard runs consistently. You know what I mean?
I can live with that for a while because not every time he's going to have to run 50, 60 yards for a touchdown. Maybe we're in the red zone. And honestly, I'm so glad you brought up vision, right? because I believe that's the one thing outside of catching the ball consistently. I believe that's the one thing that limits Miles Sanders. I know he averages 5 yards a carry, but his vision is highly questionable at times.
It sucks, man.
Highly
It
questionable.
does.
To your point though, I love Miles. Miles, like, and look, let's put it into perspective because Miles Sanders isn't a slouch. You know, his rookie year, 2019, he had eight he had 818 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, and he had 509 receiving yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. So that's 6 touchdowns total, and that's just over 1,300 yards of total offense. He had
What was his
exactly
yards per carry?
yards per carry. He
Wasn't it
averaged
like 4.8?
4.6.
Six.
Matter of fact, I put it into perspective like this. For his career, he's averaging 5 yards a carry. Exactly. 5.1 for his career. His rookie season, he averaged 4.6 yards per carry. 2020 averaged 5.3. In 2021, he averaged 5.5. And again, here's the issue. He can't stay healthy. 2020 and 2021, he only played 12 games exactly, both years respectively. So Miles Sanders, it's not like he can't be productive. He has 2 seasons already under his belt where he's had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. So he's
Yeah.
productive. He can't stay healthy. If he would have stayed healthy in 2020, if he would have stayed healthy in 2020, he would have completely broke his 2019 yardages. If he
Yeah.
would have stayed healthy this year, he would have crushed his 2020 numbers. He can't stay healthy. And the fact that you can't stay healthy is a big deal, and especially if you're looking for a long-term contract. Now, look, if he comes in and says, look, I love this team, I don't want to leave, what can we work out? If they can somehow get him a 2-year, 3-year deal on about, I don't know,
25 mil.
what's 25 divided by 3? What's that? Like 8? Because 8 times 4, 8 times 4 is no, 8 times
32.
3 is 24. That's about 8 million a year. I don't know if they want to lock up that much money with him. If I'm being honest, if they can get him on a 3-year, maybe 15 million deal, with most of it being with about 10 million being guaranteed, then maybe. But at the end of the day, man, if he does too well, he's not going to take that pay cut.
Yeah.
If he doesn't do well enough, the Eagles aren't going to really pay him what he's worth still. So,
Man, it sucks we only got 20 minutes left because there's so much shit we could talk about, man. We could do this for hours.
I feel you, bro. I feel you.
Right.
Let's get that defense though, because
Yes.
again, like that's really where the money's gonna be made this year.
Yes. Listen, man, I have been a huge advocate of Jordan Davis for like
Bro.
6 months, man. I have
I was
mocked
telling
him.
everybody. I thought I was the only one. Everybody kept saying Sauce Gardner. Not saying these guys aren't good, but everybody just kept saying go Sauce Gardner, go Drake London, go this. I'm like, no, Jordan Davis. I love that kid. Not because I met him in person, but I met him in person. And
Oh, you're lucky, dude.
He is like when they say his size, bro. He is real. Bro, he made me feel tiny,
Wall.
like real small, bro. And I weigh about 220. Man, he got me about 100 pounds easily, and he's a mountain of a man, bro. I love that Jordan Davis pick. I love it.
Wait, 100. Are you telling me you're 240? Because if so, you don't look 240, my guy.
No. I'm 220, bro. I'm 220. He got me by over 100 pounds.
Oh yeah, okay. I was gonna say, like, man, that's crazy. No, listen, man. I love Jordan Davis. In fact, I told King earlier, man. I believe Jordan Davis will be the Warren Sapp of the run defense. All right, like, no lie, dude. Listen, this kid is 6'6" and 3/4, damn near 6'7". Okay,
Runs a 4.7.
He runs a 4.72, right? Yeah. They put up Julius Peppers combine ratings up after he did his. He has numbers better than Julius Peppers. They put up Cam Jordan's, and Cam Jordan was actually at the combine while he was doing this. And Cam's like, oh my God. Like he felt that. He's like, how is it? Like all these guys that are big dudes, for most people on other teams are like, oh my God, like what are we doing wrong? This guy has me by like 160 pounds and he's better than us. Yeah.
You know what's scary? Don't not to cut you off, but
no, you're good.
If that young man can, because I feel like his biggest issue will only be keeping his weight under control. Just keep your weight under control, young man. Keep it under control, and you'll be fine.
Oh yeah.
If he can fine tune his game, like his floor is an elite run stopper. That's his
Yes.
floor. But
Yes.
if he can add 2 or 3 pass rush moves, and if he can convert that strength, that raw strength, into power, because to me, strength is being able to hold, power is being able to push,
Mhm.
and if he can convert that raw strength into raw power, he can be one of the most elite defensive linemen to ever play this game.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, listen, man, and a lot of people they sat here this past year, and I'm sorry for you guys watching right now. You heard me say this 30 minutes ago, but listen, man, Jordan Davis. A lot of people were down on him because of production. 2 sacks, blah blah blah. Listen, man, they had John Johnson, the defensive end that just got drafted this year. He was in Georgia last year. Not this last year, but the year before. Whatever, you know what I mean.
Oh,
He
you're talking
actually
about
transferred
Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson
Jermaine
from
Johnson.
FSU.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. He transferred out of Georgia, went to LSU because he didn't get playing time. Now
He
you
went
have
to
to look at these
Florida
Georgia
State.
games, man. These Georgia games, they were blowing people out. It was like they were playing high school people. So when they had Jordan Davis in, when they had Wyatt in, when they had all these dudes in there, they were pulling them out pretty much at halftime to let these freshmen and sophomores get experience because they didn't want any more people getting in the transfer portal and leaving. Because this is their young defense coming up. They were losing Wyatt this year. They were losing their damn whole defense was gone. You know what I mean?
Because
So
everybody can't play, and
yeah,
that's going to be Georgia's problem, and that's a good problem to have. That's
yeah,
Georgia's only problem going into this coming season. They have so much talent on that side of the ball, like they literally can't play everybody. That's why guys are transferring, and a guy like Jordan Davis, like you said, they were blowing teams out, and on top of that, they had so much talent, they were rotating him. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
They were
Yep.
trying to get everyone reps. Like just because he didn't, just because he wasn't asked to do it, doesn't mean he can't do it, and that's my problem with people. They didn't ask him to do that. Most
Yeah.
of these young guys, they're coming in, and I kind of hate how these analysts give these young guys hell because they didn't do something in college. What did the defense ask of them to do? What was their role on a defense that dominant, having the Kobe Dean, Javon Walker, Devontae Wyatt, all those guys? You got guys that dominant. He didn't need to do everything. But now, still, he's not going to have to do everything because you got Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, Milton Williams. He's going to learn from two of the best, bro.
Yes. And not just that, man, but I love what the kid said. I'm not selfish. I'm selfless. That right there says the whole story for me. Listen, you make a valid point here, bro. You have Hassan Riddick, you got Cox, you got Hargraves, you got Davis, you got
Josh
Williams, you
Sweat.
got BG, you got Sweat, and I'm just counting in Barnett. Hopefully he never
Bro.
sees the field, but them 7 dudes right there. Granted, Cox is on his way out. He's declined a lot, but he can still be effective. But how are you going to double team Cox? How are you going to double team Davis and Hargraves and BG and Sweat and Riddick? Like, you can't do it. If you put Fletcher Cox and Davis in there on one play, who you choosing? If you double team them both, someone's getting killed because BG and Riddick's coming off the edge. You know what I mean?
Imagine what the 5-man front is going to look
Right?
like.
Right? I'm telling you.
Bro.
Mm.
Imagine a 5-man front. You got Hassan Reddick on the edge.
Yep.
You got Javon Hargrave. Then you got Jordan Davis in the middle. You got Fletcher Cox beside him. Then you got Josh Sweat. You got the Kobe Dean bursting through. You got Kaiser White.
Yep.
Bro.
Kyron Johnson. He's another one. He's actually going to be pretty good. He's going to be good.
Yo, because you know what's so interesting about Kyron Johnson, bro? He was a linebacker in college for Kansas, but his final 2 years there, I think most notably his last year in 2021, they started to use him in pass rush situations. They started to use him on the edge, and that's actually where he was the most productive. He not so much as he's not a middle linebacker. That's just not what he is. He doesn't necessarily.
He's like a Sam or a Will, isn't he?
I think he's a Will. But like I said, he ran a 4.4
Mm-hmm.
He is an athlete. He is he is somebody that if you put him on the edge, bro, he's going to be able to get used. I love how Roseman did in this draft, and then you still got a kid like Davion Taylor who still has all the athleticism in the world, still just got to sharpen up his instincts. And I kind of feel bad because he got hurt last year and he was
Yeah.
figuring it out. His best game was that Denver game, and he was
Yep.
figuring it out. But he got hurt and he had a setback. So the bottom line is we got some talent, not just in the linebacker room, not just on the D line, but I'm really curious to see how the cornerback position pans out as well because we got guys like Kerry Vincent Jr., Zach McPherson, Tate Gowan, Matt McCain, Josiah Scott, Craig James, and I didn't even bring up the guys that we brought in through the free agent pool, like
Josh Jobe and Goodrich.
Josh Jobe, um, uh,
Goodrich.
Mario Goodrich, Josh Blackwell. They brought in 3 extra guys. There's going to be about 7 to 8, maybe 9 cornerbacks competing for that CB2 position. The talent will rise to the top. It has no choice but to rise to the top. They're going to make each other better.
Oh, for sure, man. I'm glad you're talking about this because, listen, a lot, all I've heard over the last week and a half probably, and I'm sure you've heard a lot of it too, man. Everybody wants to go out and get Bradbury. Everyone wants to go out and get a vet for your CB2.
I'm not pressed to get Bradbury, if I'm being honest. I'm really not.
Okay, and I want this is where we're going with this. Everyone says they want a vet, right? Darius Slay is your vet.
He's the vet.
I'm telling you the same thing I told King. Right? For the first time in our life, we can actually look at our CB room and say there is a shit ton of potential there. Like back 5 years ago, we could not say that. Now we can. And Slay, he's only maybe got 2 years left. Let's be honest. Okay.
I think there's 32, 33, something like that.
Yeah. So eventually, in 2 years, you're going to need a QB or a CB1 to fill his spot, and you're going to need a CB2 to fill whoever the CB1 spot is, right? We have to let these young guys play and play now. So that way, when Slay does retire or move on or whatever he chooses to do, these guys are ready to go now. If you bring in a Bradbury or an Xavier Woods or Rhodes, and
I got you.
I always say Woods, I don't know why, but Rhodes or any of these vets, you're only stalling the development of McPherson and Gowan and all of them. So I would rather see our young CBs play now.
At some point, you got to develop guys. At some point, you can't just keep going through the free agent pool. At some point, you have to develop these guys. And I'll be honest, I think the competition is going to end up being between 3 guys. I think it's going to be between Tay Gowan, Zach McPherson, and actually, you know what? 4 guys. I'll take that back. I think the competition is going to be between 4 guys: Tay Gowan, Zach McPherson, Mario Goodrich, and Josh Jobe. I think those are going to be the guys that are really going to rise, and then it's either going to be between Mario Goodrich or Tay Gowan.
All honesty, bro, in my opinion, it has to be Tay. It has to be because I love him too, bro. I do. I've been high on this kid even whenever Arizona drafted him. But listen, you gave up Zach Ertz for Tay Gowan. Basically, when you give up our greatest tight end in Philadelphia Eagles history for this kid, he better play because you gave up Zach Ertz for him, correct? Therefore, that dude better be on the field because you gave up Ertz for this kid. Like, I mean, how do you feel about that? You agree?
No, I actually feel where you're coming from. At least give him a shot, right?
Right.
The thing is, you have to give him a shot, and that's why I really don't want us to be so desperate to go out and get another guy because at the end of the day, we still got to pay guys, and we still got to make sure our cap. We don't see people are so quick to pull the trigger on these free agents. We don't want to put ourselves in another situation like we did a few years back, having too many bad contracts.
Byron Maxwell.
Byron Maxwell, Namadi Asamoah. Like, don't even get me started. But there are these guys. We have an opportunity here, and I trust Darius Slay. I trust Avonte Maddox. I trust Anthony Harris.
Yeah.
To be quite honest with you, I want to throw Marcus Epps in there. I really want to see if Marcus Epps can hang.
Hell yeah, man.
We can bitch all we want and say, you know what, we need a safety, we need a corner. look, these guys got to earn their keep, and I think Marcus Epps has played some really good reps in this NFL. And at some point, you're right, sports with a comma. You're right. At some point, you got to develop talent. At some point, you have to. You can't just keep trying to pick that. You can't just keep picking right apples off the tree. At some point, you got to grow your own tree.
Yep.
At some point, you got to. And I would love to see Tay Gowan out there balling. I love Tay Gowan's measurables. Like I also love Marcus Epps. He's such a physical guy. Such a physical guy, man. Like Tay
Dude,
Gowan,
I say Marcus
Epps 6'2", 185. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love Tay Gowan. I loved him in college. I wanted us to draft him, but we chose Zach McPherson. It's okay. It is what it is. But I think Tay Gowan is the real deal, man. He just needs an opportunity.
And not just that, but dude, he actually played in Arizona a few games. If you remember, his rookie year, he played like 3 games. His rookie year because of injury.
Yeah, he played 2 games. Yep. Yeah.
And how did he do in that? By the way, I'm pretty sure he got him there.
He only had 2 tackles. You know, you're a kid corner, so I mean.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, what was his the completion percentage against him? Do you know?
Oh, okay. So, so he did give up one. So he was only targeted 2 times, and the completion was only for 8 yards, and it was a touchdown. So it was a red zone situation. So they clearly just threw him out there.
Yeah, I can't really.
Really judge him. Can't really. Yeah. He only was targeted 2 times. One catch he defended. The other one was a touchdown. So, I mean, he's only played he barely played last year with us. He didn't play any. He played only 44 snaps last year for the Eagles, so that was because of injuries. And then he played 32 special team snaps. But the dude is legit. He ran a 4.440.
Yep.
And 4.25 shuttle. He's 6'2", 185 pounds, has the length, has the speed to be able to run with guys, 24 years old. He needs an opportunity.
Yes. Bro, this is why I love having you on, man, because we really think a lot alike. Really. And I love what you were talking about with Epps, because you know what? Last year you saw Epps take that stride forward. And he only did it because we had to play him because of injury. Once again, that's how you develop.
What game was that? He played in the Jets game, according to interception, right?
Yeah. But listen, I like to describe Epps as he has a built-in Madden truck stick. Like this kid can hit. Like everybody always says, we want Brian Dawkins. We want another one. Epps is kind of that guy. He lays people out. Yeah,
like I like Epps. He's physical. I really like what Epps. He plays fast. He plays physical. He doesn't shy away from the contact. I really love the way he plays the game. You know, I don't know, man. I'm kind of a how do you say a gladiator when it comes to certain things, man. Like I want guys to run through a wall. Like I look at football. I look at football kind of in this war mindset. My will versus your will. My passion versus your passion. You know what I'm saying? You try to take kids out. You try to steal kids from my tribe. You try to steal food from my tribe here. You know what I'm saying? It's my guys versus your guys. My will, my shoulders versus your shoulders. I'm gonna die for this. Like football takes me there, bro.
Yeah.
Football switches a gear in my brain, my man. Like when I'm at the games, oh my God, bro. I feel like everyone is just on the same pulse. Everyone is just on the same pulse, bro. The same wavelength. Yep. And when you see, like for example, that Malcolm Jenkins hit in the Super Bowl, when that hit happened on Brendan Cooks, I was like, the game has begun. I was like, we're here now. I was like, now the game started. Bro, that's why Brian Dawkins Brian Dawkins is my favorite Eagle of all time. I met him in person as well. Damn near cried talking to this man. Shook his hand. I just had to let him know. I said, Brian Dawkins, sir. Weapon X, Wolverine. I got to tell you right now, sir. What you mean to my father, what you mean to me, what you mean to this city, the passion you brought, who you are as a man of faith, the way you approach the game, the way you approach your body, the way you approach family, the way you approach just your ferociousness. Like you are a man amongst boys. You are a God amongst men. Like I gave him his flowers. I said, sir, how do you bring that out of you? What was that? I had to ask him. He said, He said, "Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's still there." I was like, "Yo, he's a dog.
I love it.
Bro, I love Brian Dawkins, bro.
He's
I
my
love
favorite
that man.
player of all time, bro.
Favorite Eagle of all time.
Yeah, has to be. And listen, man, I loved it because I heard him talk one time. I've never met him. In fact, I cannot die until I meet Brian Dawkins. We're just going to put it out there. But I loved what he said one time. He was like, listen, he's like, I'm a very Christian man. He's like, but when I'm on that field, he's like, I put that shit in my back pocket. He's like, the demon comes out of me when I touch that field. You know, he's like, my religion is left in my locker. He's like, because when I step on that field, he's like, everyone's game. And that to me, that really hit. I was like, I don't, dude, because he did not act like a religious man. Let's be honest. Like he was out there.
Did you ever hear the story about? Okay, so Brian Dawkins had a you know how they do like a football life?
Oh, okay.
They do the documentaries about the players, and they Brian Dawkins had one on NFL Network, a football life, and Tikio Spikes was telling a story about him, and he was saying, I forgot who they were playing, but they had got a big play down on him. And then B Dog was like, "Hey, send them my way." So the dude, I don't know who quarterback it was, but bottom line is the dude caught the ball, right? Or he tried to catch it. Brian Dawkins just completely laid him out. After he laid him out, he was like, "Thank you, God, hallelujah." And then like all of a sudden you see Tikio Sparks was like, "Damn, B Dog, I want some of that what you want." Dude, like it's crazy, man. Like when I say this man is so humble. He's so humble, such a class act, man. Like I gotta, if I can, let me see if I can pull something up for you, man. Like the dude is like such a class act. Let me see if I can pull
dude, I was alive when Reggie White played. Like, I mean, I watched Reggie White. Trust me, he was amazing.
Bro,
I was very upset. Yep.
Look at that, bro.
Oh, man, that's
he is the real deal, man. Like I almost shed tears with this man, bro. He is such
I would have cried.
Bro, it took everything. It took everything from me at the court, bro. I was talking to him for like a good 10 minutes. Like just
where's that at, by the way?
I was at the Maxwell Awards. That's where they give out like the Chuck Bednarik Award, and you know they give out all those awards to the college players, stuff like that, bro. I met Bryce Young. I met Jonathan Taylor there. You know, running back for the Colts.
That's cool,
man. It was such a cool event, bro. But like, man, like B Dog, the humblest, the most coolest brother I ever met in my life. Like just so thorough, my man.
Yeah, man. There'll never be another guy like him. In all honesty,
never.
But no, man. Listen, we're coming up here on our hour. We got a minute left. I know you got some things to go do, but I have nothing but high expectations for this team, man. This year, we talked about that between 10 to 12 wins. 10, 12. I'm more towards the 12 than I am the 10. I'll tell you that.
Same. We should win 2 more games here easily. 2 more games for sure.
Yeah. I do believe we will win the NFC East. I do believe we'll make it past the wild card this year. I'm not going any further than that, but I do believe. And if we do all that, it's a win-win again. You know, I will tell you this, man. I said it on Wednesday night. I don't believe we are that Super Bowl team yet. Maybe next year, the year after. Yeah, maybe next year or the year after. All depends on how the draft goes next year and stuff. But we are knocking on the door. The door is being knocked on, and next year we're going to kick it in, I hope. But stranger things have happened. We'll put it that way.
I was literally about to say that to you. I was about to say that. Stranger things have happened.
Listen, man, why don't you give your final thoughts on this season coming up here, what you want to see, and shout your channel out and stuff, man. And once again, before you go, I appreciate you, dude. I really do, taking your time out to do this. We both have families. I know you family's important to you. So just taking this hour for me, man, I really appreciate it.
For sure, AK. You already know, man. First and foremost, I got to say thank you for allowing me to come on the platform, man. Really enjoyed it. Like I said, me and you talk. We're kind of like minds in this football thing, right?
Yeah.
And I don't take none of it for granted. I don't take any of the relationships I build through this content creation game for granted. I really believe everyone has something to bring to the table, and I try to learn from each and everybody, and try to approach every relationship, every friendship, every acquaintanceship, just with open arms, just being humble and just being a listener more than I talk, right? And again, man, excited for what you're doing. Really proud of you. Sending my love to your family, and again, thank you for allowing me to come onto your platform. As far as the Philadelphia Eagles go, man, I believe this team will go as far as Jalen Hurts takes them.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts is at that point now where Jalen Hurts he is the captain now, and the ship will only go as far as he takes it. The ball is completely in his court, and really, the sky is the limit because the team is talented enough on offense. And these days, if your offense is good enough and your defense can get a few stops, you can compete. You know what I'm saying? Like these days, it's all about because defensive guys they don't allow them to do but so much. It's at that point now where on defense, if you can get a few key stops per game, if you can limit a team to under 20 points, get a few key stops, you can beat anybody. So your defense doesn't have to be top 10 to be Super Bowl caliber, right? You just have to have a balance of okay, my team can only hold guys to about 20, 18 points. All right, I got to be able to score 24, 30 minimum. So it's all about that balance and that give and take. But overall, I have high expectations for this team. I think this team can definitely win 12 games. So I'm saying, I'm locking it in. We're going to go 12-5. I think Jalen Hurts throws for over 3,800 passing yards, 25 passing touchdowns. I think he rushes for about 600 yards. He rushes for about 5 touchdowns as well. I think AJ Brown and Devontae Smith both go over 1,000 yards this year. I think Dallas Goedert goes for about 800, 900 because the volume is probably going to go down. But I say he hits about 800, 900. I think Quez Watkins hits about that 600, 700 range. Um, my expectations are high. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to lead the NFC East in sacks. They're going to be top. They're going to be top five in the conference in sacks. They're going to be top five in the league in sacks. They're going to have a top five defense, top 10 at the very worst. I have high expectations for this team, man, and I really think we're going to punch a lot of people in the mouth. They didn't give us 5 primetime games for nothing, so it's going to be lights out. And then as far as the channel goes, listen, I'm your guy, Tone Deshields the second from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry.
Hey, man, excellent. And listen, we're gonna have to get back in here and do this again when we got
Definitely.
more than an hour because you said some things right there at the end that I can't even talk on now because we're leaving. But I really want to do it. So there's a lot more to talk about, so we got to get back into this here very soon, man.
For,
Because
for sure, for sure, man. Listen, you reach out anytime, and I'll try. You reach out anytime, and I'll try to carve out that time for us, man, for sure.
yeah, definitely. Well, listen, I appreciate each and every one of you who did come in tonight and join into the chat and talk and watch us do our thing. I appreciate each and every one of you. I am AK Eagles. This is the AK Eagles podcast. And until next time, I appreciate my boy Tone Deshields coming in here, joining me, talking some Eagles football. If you do not know who this man is, I'm sorry for you. His link is at the bottom in the
It's
description.
all love. It's
Yeah,
all love.
yeah. But it's in the description. Go click on his link, sub to his channel. The guy is amazing content creator. He knows his shit, and I have nothing but love for him. So once again, man, thank you so much, and everybody, you guys have a great weekend. Fly Eagles, fly. We are out. Peace.